Good evening from Washington, D.C. I'm Michael Steele, filling in for my friend Chris Hayes tonight. We are awaiting an appearance by Kamala Harris in Houston, Texas, in just about 15 minutes from now. And we're going to bring that to you live because, oh, man, does she have a lot to talk about. This will be the first time the vice president will have a public event since her opponent, you know him, Donald Trump, had an incredible debacle earlier today. When Donald Trump went on stage to take questions at the largest annual convention of black journalists, it is a challenging room to begin with for any politician to work, even in the best of times, but especially for Trump with his history of controversial and racist statements. Just booking this interview caused resignations in the leadership of the National Association of Black Journalists. And now I can understand why. Now, I don't know if you saw the session, but it started late, and it started with an announcement from moderator Rachel Scott, the ABC News correspondent, congressional reporter, that Trump's answers would be fact-checked in real time on social media. And from the very first question, Trump handled it all like a consummate professional. No, I'm actually just kidding. He was Donald Trump.
You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network.
Oh, it got really bad after that. Things quickly deteriorated as Trump obsessed about the audacity of three journalists who all happened to be black women as they attempted to do journalism.
I got treated so rudely as this woman treated me.
Oh, my goodness.
And I'm fine with it because she was very rude, sir. Very rude. That was a nasty, that wasn't a question. She didn't ask me a question. She gave a statement. That wasn't a question.
I repeated your statement.
What's your plan for the black community when it comes to money?
So, first of all, it's very hard to hear you for whatever reason because of the fact that they have bad equipment, because I guess, you know, this woman was unable to get the right equipment.
Sir,
I have
if you don't mind, I'd love
judge.
to. We have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different topics.
No, excuse you. You're the one that held me up at 35 minutes, just so you understand.
And 2 days after that?
I cannot understand. Your microphone
I know,
is so
it is
muffled.
really hard for me to
it's
understand
just,
you, too.
I can understand you perfectly.
Because she's closer.
I can understand you.
I'm happy to hear that, sir.
But
Sir, my question is on those.
What's going to happen to
my
the people
question is
that
on
tried
those
to bring
rioters who assaulted officers.
You have to
would you pardon
What's
those
going to
people?
happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You would pardon those?
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just
Why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country. A lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
He was agitated. He was rude. He was racist. And yes, he was weird. Just a few weeks ago, Trump looked like he was cruising to a victory against an aging Joe Biden and making major inroads with minority voters. Now he's facing an uphill battle against Vice President Kamala Harris, and his appearance today was a crucial opportunity to flip the script. Instead, Trump heaped scorn on his questioners and made things worse. When he was asked about Republicans blasting Harris as a DEI hire, he didn't just double down. No. He invented a new kind of racist Kamala trutherism on the fly.
Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
Give me a definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question, a very direct question.
Define it for me, if you would.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn, and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she is...
I think somebody should look into that, too, when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
In addition to defending immunity for killer cops, saying he'd pardon January 6 rioters, and again calling himself the best president for black Americans since Abraham Lincoln, Trump also suggested Kamala Harris couldn't pass a cognitive test. And he went on to deflect questions about his running mate, J.D. Vance, from another interviewer, Semafor Politics reporter Kadia Goba, with flat-out lies.
I'm going to get my J.D. Vance question in. To your point and to Rachel's point, he, has a lot of opinions about childless women like myself or divorced people like yourself. Do you think, well, my point is here.
But at least it was said in a friendly manner.
My point is, do you think the Republican Party is getting a little bit too judgy about people's lives when you think about abortion or when you think about what J.D. Vance is saying?
I don't think, look, I think that the Democrat Party is really the one that has the problem. I think they're radical on abortion because they're allowing abortion in the 9th month. They're allowing the death.
But I think it's
they're
about
allowing
freedom,
the death of a baby after the baby is born, based on
Sir, that's
governor of Virginia.
In every state in the country.
Based on the
Look, it's the job of journalists to ask hard, uncomfortable questions. And convention organizers worked with PolitiFact to try and fact-check Trump's rambling in real time on social media. All he had to offer, though, was racially problematic disrespect to his questioners, along with the usual self-serving lies. So here's the point. Is there any redeeming value to interviewing Donald Trump like this? Is that juice really worth the squeeze? Kadia Goba is a political reporter for Semafor. She was one of the 3 journalists who questioned Trump on that panel today, and she joins me now. Ms. Goba, thank you so much. I know there's a moment where you kind of you're sitting there and you're asking yourself, is this really happening? Talk about how you approached this opportunity to question the president, and how, to the rest of it, it just seemed to be a misalignment of assignments here for the president to actually come in and have a conversation with you, and ostensibly with a very large black audience. And then you're also trying to ask him the tough question about, okay, this is what we know about you. How do you account for that?
Yeah, so that's a great question, because I spent a lot of time going over questions and, framing them in a way that I thought would elicit some kind of response from the former president. If you have interviewed Donald Trump, you know that he is a very difficult interview. I just interviewed him about 7 weeks ago in Mar-a-Lago. It is not easy. However, I did not expect some of the rhetoric that came, or some of the initial pushback that came, and, that accusatory tone at the very beginning, and outright, just assailing the panelists. I didn't anticipate that at all. So while I crafted what I thought were really good questions, I feel like it was downplayed a little bit because of all the chaos that happened on the panel.
Yeah, well, it started off with the drama, and, the lateness of how it began, the fact that at about the 34-minute mark, his campaign staff just killed the conversation. because it clearly was not good for the president for a whole host of reasons. And so that leads me to ask this question. Do you think it was productive at all? Because there are a lot of people who are saying, why did that even take place? I, for one, just to put my thought on the table real quick, yeah, I thought it was productive from the standpoint we should hear what this man thinks about us as a community, what he thinks about the issues that he's going to confront as president. But as a journalist, when you're planning this, if you had to do it all over again, would you do it?
I wouldn't miss an opportunity to interview a presidential candidate, Republican or Democratic one. So, I mean, that's a great question, whether or not, the audience got what they needed. Again, you point out that this was an audience full of journalists. I feel like I got some questions. I got him on the record saying that he would take a cognitive test, right? Yes. If he took office. And there were a few responses that we did get. Sadly, like you mentioned, it was a little overshadowed by some of what happened or the chaos on the panel. But to your point, listen, the American people need to understand what a future president possibly would look like in front of a group of Black journalists or just journalists at large. I thought it was interesting that he came into a venue and said fake news with, about hundreds of journalists in front of him, right? So, I mean, I think Americans need to see that, maybe be reminded that this is who this candidate is, for better or for worse. No judgment on my part, but I think that's important to and we, like I said, we did get him on the record for a couple of
you did. You got him on the record on a number of things, and I really applaud the professionalism of all three of you in approaching this interview, and particularly when it started to go sideways. You did a remarkable job of holding composure, staying focused on the mission, and like you said, getting some news out of it.